Witnesses describe a bizarre, giant, cat-like humanoid prowling around the dark corners of the Pratt Institute campus. The Pratt Alliance for Necronomical Investigations and Cryptozoology, abbreviated as PANIC, is determined to find answers. Will their search for evidence reveal an animal that history suggests is still here?
Oh, I know there's big black cats here because I've seen them.
Dark fur, solid black, and big.
That's when I heard this horrible sound. Maybe an animal hunting, crying, mating, playing, dabbing, flossing, planking, or dying. I don't know. It was like the only time I've ever really been scared of something since seeing a cat for the first time.
It was just a beautiful cat. That's all I can say.
Well, my friend showed me a picture on Snapchat, but honestly, it was nothing to write home about.
Well, it was definitely a cat, but it walked on two legs.
Smelled bad, like burnt bacon.
Isn't he an influencer on TikTok?
Well, yeah, I told them, like, if I see another one, like, can I kill it? And they were like, well, no, they're protected. And I was, like, if they're not from around here, like, why are they protected? Like, why are you doing that? I don't understand. Like, I should be able to kill it if I see it, Like, I don't know, whatever.
He's a pretty cool guy. You can always bum a cigarette off him.
It turned towards me like a rumpled trash bag with glowing eyes.
I suspect it was either a leopard or a jaguar, since it was released in Brooklyn.
I don't want to see anyone else die, anyone get mauled or attacked, but hell yeah, I'll say I told you so.
Reports have been remarkably consistent. The creature stands approximately 5 feet tall, with black fur and a slender figure. It seems to prefer avoiding human contact whenever possible, but could potentially be dangerous when cornered. Understanding the origins of similar beasts may shed some light on these recent occurrences. While not always as large, the first documented Pratt cat appeared during the short reign of Charles Pratt II, son of Charles Pratt I. Frequent sightings tapered off during World War I and World War II, presumably because many of the cats were serving overseas in the Navy. Then, in the 1950s, Moses built a fence around Pratt to try to keep the cats out, but his plan backfired and the cats ended up trapped on campus instead. Some of the earliest known images of Pratt cats were illustrated with a brush, recovered from the official Institute archives. Here we see a painting dated to the early 1900s. The same painting also appears in 1942 and again in 1970. One thing is clear. For many decades, these furry compatriots roamed the campus and captured the hearts of students and staff alike. It isn't until 1982 that a reference to something more sinister emerged. Pratt's most popular fraternity at the time, Alpha Papa Echo, distributed a scavenger hunt checklist that asked students to secure a hair from the cat man. Around the same time period, a severely damaged camera was recovered from the engineering tunnels and only a single image from the roll could be successfully developed. The identity of the photographer remains a mystery, although their ultimate fate can be inferred. Then, in the 1990s, Professor Herbert Brown Rice experienced a harrowing confrontation with an unknown creature on campus, one he would never forget.
I was a professor back in the 90s, and I'd heard the stories but never believed any of it. Then walking home one night after class, there was a noise in the bushes behind me. I turned around just in time to catch a glimpse of something big and dark and hairy. Luckily, I had a camcorder with me, so I turned it on and followed after it. And oh my God, I had never seen anything like that. It walked on 2 feet like a human, but it definitely wasn't a bear. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, and I tried to get closer. But it saw me and disappeared into the bushes. Right about then, I realized that I might be in danger. So I got out of there as fast as I could. You know, for a long time after that, I was really shaken. I only played back the tape on my VCR one time. I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. So I put the cassette in a shoebox and tried to forget about it. Maybe there are some things that we were never meant to know.
This is the actual footage Brown Rice captured on that fateful day, released for the very first time in its entirety. Throughout the years, a handful of others have also faced terrifying ordeals. One verified witness agreed to speak with our producers, afflicted by the condition that we protect their identity.
Si alguien mira esto, por favor, manden ayuda. Yo solo quería recoger un sofá que conseguí gratis de Facebook, pero me sigue hablando de un gato gigante y no me deja salir. Ni siquiera creo que hay un sofá gratis, yo solo quiero irme a mi casa. Díganle a mi familia que los amo. Mandy, si ves esto, por favor, llama a la policía. No sé, quiero verte de nuevo.
There's one man who may just have the answers. Panic reached out to Damien Frost, a professional cryptozoologist familiar with the local legend of the Pratt cat.
Everybody's heard of Bigfoot, Mothman, the Loch Ness Monster. Those are your classic cryptids, basic stuff. But there's nothing left to prove there. The real opportunities lay in researching the lesser-known creatures. Things like Fresno nightcrawlers, or incels, or squonks. And that appetite for discovery is what led me to the Pratt cat of Brooklyn. I'm convinced that I have evidence to prove that this thing truly does exist. I've come across historical texts, spoken to plenty of eyewitnesses. In my mind, we've already had enough info to definitively say that something was out there. I've seen art school. They're not that creative, and I'm telling you, nobody could possibly be making this stuff up. But all these sheeple out there won't believe anything unless it runs for office. Since photographs can't be faked, that was the logical place to start. And I had just bought some extra trail cams to try and catch whoever had been shitting in my garden. So we rigged those cameras up to a few trees in the area that we'd calculated to be hotspots for Pratt cat sightings. Didn't really see anything out of the ordinary the first 2 weeks, just your typical student animal traffic. But then one night we got hit by a big storm, and when I checked on one of the cams in the morning, it had been knocked down off the tree and got pretty banged up. Just assumed it was the weather, but as I picked it up, I noticed a footprint in the wet dirt. Ran back to my office, got some plaster mix, and I pulled this casting from the print. This right here is my ticket to the big leagues. Yeah, I think this is still make-believe.
Banana for scale.
But that's not all. I'd almost forgotten about the trail cam, and sure enough, about a dozen shots down, there he was, clear as day. Even though it was at night and in a storm, you could see the edge of his right cheek and the whole of the ear. Right there. See it? The legend himself. And he got real mad at this camera. The best I could figure out was that the red light sensor set him off, and maybe like how cats play with laser pointers. All I know is that I'm glad I wasn't out there that night myself. I've got the research, the documentation, plaster impressions of footprints, shots from the trail cam, the whole shebang. It's real. It's all real. Some kid even went missing for Pete's sake. He's dead, by the way. No doubt about it. I've seen what that thing can do. With the info I have now, we're gonna get the answers.
As Plato once said, a baby that plays with a box of matches shall burn your house down before nap time. And it wasn't long until tragedy struck.
Unfortunate news out of Brooklyn tonight, as another college student has been reported missing. Industrial design senior Gary Tsunami was last seen Monday evening on the Pratt Institute campus. Although some believe he fell victim to a local monster dubbed the Pratt Cat, detectives have not yet released additional details.
The news shook the local community till it was sore and led to mass protests, as many believed the Pratt administration knew more about Gary Tsunami's disappearance than they let on. Legally, we're not allowed to say we believe there was a cover-up. However, illegally, we can, and we just did. Irregardless, to this day, no trace of Gary has ever been found. However, in the future, all of this is in the past, and the Panic team hopes to take these pieces and make them fit into a single, partially coherent narrative. Our producers pay $40 to send the filmatic evidence and the plaster paw print to an independent lab for further analysis. The team is hopeful that Dr. Clarence Beef will be able to provide some answers. Since scientists are trained to evaluate evidence and make it prove their theory. The truth is in the beef, as they say.
Hello, my name is Clarence Beef from the Mail Order Lab, and we were tasked with analyzing a few pieces of evidence connected to the alleged Pratt Cat creature. So first, I had the people downstairs see what they could get out of the VHS recording. An initial test showed no indications that the footage was tampered with or altered in any way. And then our genius unpaid interns tried to boost the resolutions of the footage and enhance the quality a bit. But the original DPI was so low that they tried downloading more RAM. Then our network got infected with the Trojan virus, and all the data was held for ransom unless we paid the hackers in Bitcoin, which we obviously don't have funding for. Plus, Bitcoin? They didn't like that, so they wiped out my entire life's work. And the long story short is we primarily had to rely on a blurry screenshot that the staff had printed out. Essentially, 4 out of 5 scientists agreed that the creature in question is taller than a normal cat and is almost certainly a mammal. So we can comfortably rule out birds, reptiles, insects, reptiles, fish, birds, fish, rocks, fish, reptiles, and insects. All that stuff. And if I had to guess, I'd certainly say that this has all the indicators of a creature hitherto unknown to science. Possibly a cat-human hybrid. Do I believe it's a cat-human hybrid? Yeah, possibly a cat-human hybrid. Moving on to the print that our geniuses came up with, we were able to scan it in 3D, which allows us to analyze these structures quantitatively in 18 dimensions. That's 3 times 3 times 3 cubed. So the 3DDD images can visualize the specimen in ways that simple photography or even having the original specimen in front of me can't.
The prints are scanned using 8 lasers of different sizes and speeds. The resulting images are not only 3D, but reveal infinite details. 99% of them invisible to the naked eye.
We are looking for specific characteristics unique to cats, like toe beans, and others that are unique to humans, like fingies. So let's see, this sample is about 15 centimeters, which is more than 2 inches, and clearly a terrestrial carnivore, and it definitely has 4 toes. 4 toes! It's very exciting to have 4 toes, and it's clearly adapted to walking on the ground. rather than walking on the air, which would be very exciting as well, but it's not what we're here to talk about. There is no other cat on the planet that can do this. Sure. I think you'd be hard-pressed to make a case for this being the track of a known creature. It's my expert opinion that the evidence conclusively proves that this is a new species. Scientists are always finding new stuff, making you question your assumptions, and hopefully more evidence will come to light soon to determine that either way.
Outwardly, Panic is confident that these results are enough to convince even the most hypothetical person. We hope future expeditions may shed light on the creature's genealogy, uncover new social behaviors, or estimate the surviving population.
If they say it's real, of course I'll believe them. If they try to tell me it's not, then they're lying to protect something or someone. I sure as hell haven't made it this far in my life by believing experts. See, the Pratt cat is real.
As you're standing around the idyllic Pratt Institute campus, because all of the seating is uncomfortable, remain vigilant, because the Pratt cat is out there, somewhere. What more is there to say? Maybe he's a regular guy out there, trying to survive in the city, getting parking tickets, illegally downloading Yellow Jackets, paying way too much for the gluten-free substitutions on the menu. Who knows? Maybe we should all just be a little more appreciative that the Pratt cat chose us.